Shalom Aleichem, it is the 17th of Menachem Av, Erev Shabbos Ekev, and Mishnah Yomi is in chapter 4 of Beitzah, Mishnah Beit. Ein notlin etzim min sukkah. We do not remove wood from a sukkah. Now remember, yesterday we talked about taking wood from a muksa, which was the wood pile, but a wood pile for construction. Muksa here meaning set aside. They were going to use it for building, not for firewood. If you had a pile of firewood and need to light up your oven on Yontiv to cook your lunch, of course, you could do so. Now here in Mishnah Beit, we're saying we're not taking wood off of a sukkah. Sukkah here in the general sense of a shack, anything made for shade. Schach is something that shades, as we learned in Masachet Sukkah. The ikar part of the sukkah is the roof materials providing shade. The schach, not really the roof. Element of samachla, but you could take wood that is next to it, like leaning on it, but not attached. Now that we continue talking about gathering your firewood, mivim eitzim min sadeh min hamchunas. You can bring wood in from the field if it had been mikunas, like Beit Knesset, like gathered up already, like they made a little pile of wood or logs in the field. You could bring that in to use on Yontav for cooking. Umina karpef, and from your karpef or karpaf, afilu min hamafuzar, even scattered wood you could bring. So from your enclosure, you can pick up wood even if it's scattered throughout the enclosure. Now we've talked about this karpaf or karpef in detail in Eruvin. It's actually an enclosed area. There were some that were enclosed for residential purposes, like gated neighborhood, and some that were just an enclosure, for animals to use, or, your backyard area. Now, the Mishnah defines Ezehu karpef. Now, which karpef, which enclosed area you're talking about for the purposes of bringing firewood on Yontiv? Now, obviously, if you have a little enclosed area in the middle of the forest, maybe that's not good. So say kol shesamach la'ir. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Yehuda, Samuch L'ir, they're close to the city limits. They're within 70 2/3 amot is considered close. Rabbi Yossi is more mekel. Kol shenichnosen lo b'potachat. Anywhere that you need a key, you need something. Potachat is literally an opener, but typically a key, some sort of device to open the gate or the lock on the gate. Afilu b'toch tchum Shabbat. Even if it's not necessarily close to the city, but it's within the Tuchum Shabbat. So instead of being within 70 and change amot of the city, it's within 2,000 amot of the city. That would be close enough that you can go out there on Shabbos, take your key with you, don't forget, and bring in some firewood, even if it's scattered from your karpaf. That's in the Tuchum Shabbat of the city. Great, let's go on to Mishnah Gimel. Ein mivakayin eitzim lo min hakorot. We do not chop firewood, not from beams. So the beams are like 4x4s or 2x4s. We don't want to break them to make firewood. V'lo min hakora shenishbra b'yom tov, and not from a beam that broke on Yom Tov. So if someone had a 2x4 and it fell over and snapped in half, and say, I can't use it for construction anymore, but use it for firewood. So no, it wasn't muchan. It was muksa, erev Yom Tov. When Yom Tov came in, it was set aside for construction, so it still can't be used for firewood. Ve'en mevakin, and we don't split wood, talking about not from construction wood, but general wood or logs you have, we don't split those lo b'kardam lo b'magera, with a regular saw, or a kardam is a large axe, magera is a saw, lo b'magal. Magal is a sharp sickle, like a curved large knife. It's typically used for harvesting, but you could use it to split lumber. Also, elebekofitz, but you could use the famous kofitz that we use to weigh meat against. It's some sort of large cleaver. Some Mefarshim say it was a smaller axe, not like an industrial, professional grade axe, but like a smaller axe you'd have around the house, or it was an axe with one large side, and then the back it had a smaller side. So you could use the smaller side, which is sort of the amateur way of splitting lumber, not the big professional way. Finally, bait shumale perot. What if there was a house, like a storeroom? Really, it's like a storage shed. Shumale perot. It's got your produce inside, and you want to eat that produce on Yom Tov. Sotum, and it was sealed up. Now here, the Mefarshim say it was sealed, not cemented. They just piled some bricks there, and then they go back and cement them later. So it wasn't really permanently sealed. It just had a pile of bricks. V'nifchot, and then the bricks fell down. So the din here is notil b'makom hapitach. So you can actually take the produce out of this storeroom at the place where it was breached open. Even though Erev Yontiv, you didn't really have it in mind. It wasn't really muchan because it was sealed up with a row of bricks there, even though they weren't cemented. But Lamaisa, it was food inside there, so you could use it on Yontiv. And it's not muksa, even though it's in a structure that you can't break into or open up on Yom Tov. Rabbi Meir adds, Af potech lechatchilu hanotel. You could even open up this storeroom in the first place and take out the produce if you need it for Yom Tov. Now, the reason here, again, is these bricks are not cemented or glued or joined together. they're merely piled one on top of the other. So when somebody removes the bricks on top to make an opening, they're not really demolishing. They're doing something that looks a little bit like demolishing, and if there's a need for the enjoyment of Yom Tov to have what to eat, then Rabbi Meir would allow it. Yashar Kochachem and Shabbat Shalom.